Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Shane. So, I know I haven't been too active on YouTube over, the last, whether it's a few days, even a couple of weeks. But I've been going overtime trying to figure out where to be parking capital. What are some of the best altcoins to be, putting our capital, and what narratives, what chains. I feel like going forward in this bull run, there's just so many things going on. There's so many different narratives, even potential upcoming narratives, and there's so many things you want to plan for. So this video is going to just be a general overview about, a lot of higher cap coins, that I'm personally very, very bullish on, even just going forward into the next few months, regardless of price action. But I do want to cover, Bitcoin, ETH, virtual, obviously. I literally, this is like one of the, my favorite assets in crypto right now still. So I want to cover just a bunch of stuff and then give you guys my thoughts, in the next few days to even weeks from now. I'm going to have a ton of videos just talking about more alpha, different stuff within my own portfolio, how I'm allocating. So let's get into it. Because we got right now Bitcoin. If you guys have seen many videos that I've posted over the last few weeks, I've actually been very vocally bearish about this price action. I've been expecting us to kind of pull back, at least to like low to mid 80s at the lowest. And as far as right now, yeah, it's actually showing strength, which is good for Bitcoin. But, this is always just going to be something you have to pay attention to. Because a lot of times, too, what is going to happen is price is going to fake out and then insta dump and continue to go back down. That is worst case if that does happen and we see continued downside. But, with it being literally early January and in past bull runs, we've seen incredible strength into Q1 of, the year prior of when, elections happen and when the cycles actually really kick off. It's hard to tell, and I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin, legit making another run into potentially new all-time highs fairly soon. Of course, it's incredibly hard to know. No one actually knows what's going to happen, but, for me, it's like the other thing that I want to pull up, which I will in a second, is that it really looks like an alt season is very much so on the brink of happening, regardless of what Bitcoin is trying to do in the short term. Even if Bitcoin, aside from, yes, if it does dump, alts are going to nuke as well. But I do think it is very important right now that you should be fairly allocated into the market, specifically into some high cap stuff where you can stomach the volatility before alts really take off. We still have not seen a full alt season. But I think altcoins are looking primed to, go into another major leg up, even from now into the next 2 to 3 months. It's very hard to tell what's going to happen, but like I said, I think it's looking really good. And Bitcoin here, as long as we're not going to see major red candles from this area, and as long as it breaks, kind of holds, continues to form bullish structure, showing that it wants to keep going up from here, that's going to be very crucial. Because again, if we see some major red candles form, whether it's here and it just continues to dump, or if it, breaks up, huge red candle all the way back down, things like that are very bearish. Because again, considering Bitcoin is still pretty high in price, I would not be surprised to see it come down at the worst case, but if it does come down here, that is where you load up everything you have. Anything, any capital you want to allocate that you've been waiting to deploy, that is when you want to jump in, is if we do have a major capitulation for some reason. But it looks like Bitcoin is trying to really stabilize in this area, which that is kind of what I've been shocked about lately. I just found this divergence indicator. I didn't even know this thing existed. But this thing, kind of shows exactly what I look for in, just divergence when it comes to looking at an RSI. You can see it. And this kind of shows exactly what I look for I don't really like to use, I guess, this thing that shows it like that, but um, but like I said, it looks like Bitcoin is kind of stabilizing because the RSI is kind of in the middle. I don't really see it going too much further down, especially if we're going to have another leg up. At least for Bitcoin, and then for altcoins though, that's altcoins are gonna pump regardless. Once alt season really starts kicking off, I don't think price action on Bitcoin is going to do too much, while altcoins are pumping for a while. So it looks like Bitcoin is kind of holding up pretty well here. So we'll see what happens with that. And I just think looking at ETH just looks primed, guys. I really would not be surprised in Q1, probably earlier than later, ETH potentially breaking into a new all-time high. At least breaking this cycle's resistance from early 2024. If it could just break through, have a nice day, bounce, and just have a clean break, I think ETH is going straight to 4,500, upwards of even 5K. Give me 1 second here. I think ETH looks very good. It is absolutely primed, like I said. Even Solana, I think, is still looking like fairly good, fairly strong here. And it's actually got a very clean parabola forming. And in a bull market, a lot of times these parabolas end up playing out. So I would not doubt that something like this is going to play out in the next literally 2 months. By February, Sol will probably be back above this previous level. I would not doubt it, but again, keep in mind, I'm not a financial advisor, guys. It's just my outlook. Because I feel like a lot of times I'm flip-flopping left and right, day after day, trying to figure out what's happening. But this is where, I've been planning, and I want to get into that after I pull this one thing up. But, trying to figure out where to allocate, what chains, what narratives, and how much, should you have stabled, how much should you have deployed. That's one of the biggest, hardest things within the market. You need to, figure out and make sure that you're comfortable with at the current moment, because anything can happen. So what I do like with these charts that I'm seeing, of course I'm frozen. What I do like though is the market cap dominance of Bitcoin. This, in my opinion, is looking very bearish, which when it comes to our altcoin bags, that is very bullish. Especially if this is going to really start a downtrend. I mean, it's as simple as, okay, well, this, it broke up here, huge dump, back into early December, came back up, wicked back up into this, trend area, came back down, and is now breaking below this again. In my opinion, this is showing some, pretty clear weakness for the time being. And at this point, I think it could be a great time to really be paying attention, allocating in the market. But especially though, the thing is you don't want to wait for this confirmation in crypto, because by the time we have this confirmation, and what I mean by that is if we see Bitcoin dominance dumping to 54, 53%, even ripping lower over the next few weeks or a month, that is going to be clear confirmation that an alt season has started. But by that point, many of your favorite altcoins will have already pulled a 2x, 3x, 5x from, current levels. So that's also the major risk you got to be calculating and taking in the market, because no one knows if an alt season is going to happen. There's no real confirmation yet. But this is where you should be allocated, to strength and in the market probably earlier than later, when everything is still somewhat up in the air, versus waiting for confirmation. There's a meme or a joke where it's like, I've seen on Twitter a lot, when Bitcoin is at like 60K, everyone's like, all right, I'm going to wait for Bitcoin to hit 100K for that confirmation to then buy altcoins. Like that type thing. Like by the time Bitcoin or whatever altcoin, has made that move that you're waiting for, you've already missed the boat, right? But a lot of majors are looking very good. Virtual still has not pulled back. But guys, what I've been warning though about with AI agents though, virtuals itself, I think, are very locally topped out. I'm waiting for a heavy correction. I've been saying this now for probably 2 or 3 weeks on Twitter, on YouTube. Um, I've been telling, it's just, it seems like a ton of capital liquidity has flown into the virtual ecosystem to, jump into a lot of these AI agents. But, once you usually see that, it comes to a local top. And by local top, I don't mean that, okay, virtual is done for the rest of the cycle. Nothing like that. Virtual is probably going to continue, especially if it continues to pump out very strong AI agents. And it seems like a lot of agents now within Virtual's ecosystem are really building. We got some, Acolyte's a great example. They're starting to get real developments, real team. They just brought like an ex OpenAI developer onto their team. Things like that. Like we're starting to see real development within these AI agents on Virtual. And obviously, the better that these agents get, the more demand the agents are going to have, which is going to have even more demand for Virtual. And AI agents themselves are not going anywhere. I think they're going to be a very prominent narrative, at least minimum for the next few months. That's why I think it's still a great narrative to focus on, but definitely think you got to wait for a pullback. This is where, something I want to see Virtual really dump. Well, if it can go to like $3, lower than $3, chop, consolidate. It's not like this is just going to go straight down. Absolutely not. When we're in a bull market and things just, have gone up so hard, they will come down, they'll chop, and then they'll continue up. Always happens. Literally something kind of like this. But, Virtuals, to see this even way higher than it is it's already at $5, but $7, $8, $10 at some point. It's like I think that's pretty possible, as long as AI agents continue, as long as this bull run plays out like we're all expecting and waiting for, right? But to me, it's one of the top AI projects in the space. But I want to see a major dump on it to really scale in. And one of the other projects I've brought up so many times is actually Arc on Solana. Similar idea going on here, but Arc is still in the development of building their agent infrastructure, and they're going to have liquidity pairing just like Virtual. And Arc itself, is one of my highest conviction bets on Solana. I don't really mess around. I haven't in the past messed around with too many, Solana utility type coins, but I think this one is just insanely promising. And then also, if Arc ends up bringing out some incredible AI agents, because with Arc, it's going to be similar to Virtual. But the difference is that Arc is actually hand-picking each and every AI agent and AI agent team. It's almost like a vetting process that they're going through. So in my opinion, that's like signaling to me that that these agents are going to be pretty top tier, at least to a point. And then also, if that drives a ton of demand even further on Solana for sole AI agents, Arc could be one of the number one protocols on Solana going forward, because of the demand with its agents. And if the agents, end up doing very great things, the same thing, if it's also going to have that liquidity pairing. So whenever an agent's actually launched, it's going to be similar to Virtual, how it's going to operate kind of like a layer one. Just to be able to buy the agents, you got to buy Virtual. Same thing with Arc. You're going to have to buy the Arc token to then swap into the whatever the agent or the newer agents are. And that's all supposed facts. The developers said it live, literally on like a posted space on Twitter. But things like that, these are some of my highest convictions going forward right now. And I just think they're easy holds as long as you just, hold through these dips. Because like I said, I think Virtual and its whole ecosystem definitely needs a major correction. But if you guys start slurping those dips, and I don't mean these tiny dips, like even Vader right now. Vader is on a dip right now. And I'm not talking about a dip. I mean like even a heavier correction than this. Like this is just its first downswing. This is probably going to bounce. If it's going to have a correction, this will bounce, fail to make a new high, bounce again, and start forming a or bearish structure and come all the way back down, potentially like 70, 80 million. But you want to see you want to see some price action, kind of just like downside, and then it kind of chills, momentum sideways. Almost to me, this is like when it does like something like this, that's a clear reset in sentiment, and a reset to then send it well into new highs, whether 200, 300 million. That's just Vader. There's so many really good projects like, game, kind of a utility infrastructure play within virtuals, right? Like same thing. This kind of is bouncing. To me, I want to see this fail to make another high, have a nice dump. Ooh, maybe not like that, but something like this, bounce, and it's 100% going to continue its bullish momentum, but I want to see a huge capitulation on this chart. And when it does happen, obviously, I'll probably bring it up multiple times on YouTube, the day of, the couple days, the week that they're down. Because something like game is an insanely strong utility play just to hold for the cycle. As long as virtuals maintains, where it's at, again, aside from a dip, game is going to be basically a virtual protocol beta play. That's not an actual agent, like that's actual infrastructure within the virtual ecosystem. So, these are just some very high conviction bets of mine. And like I said, I'm still waiting for a lot of dips. And we actually got MOG too. MOG is looking very good. If you guys, I've been holding MOG for a long time. This is one of the only meme coins that I have an unwavering conviction for going forward. I think MOG is going to be one of the best Ethereum beta plays in the cycle going forward. I don't care what anyone says. No one has ever swayed my conviction aside from myself, and I still have never swayed my own conviction. So I think it's probably going to follow. It might bounce, it could chop, but this is well on its way past, minimum 1.5 billion where it was at here, 2 billion, probably 3 billion. This is going to multi-billions now that it's on Coinbase. It is listed everywhere. Probably one of the number one meme coins, that is, at least at the moment, somewhat higher cap, that you can still get a minimum 3 to 5x upwards of, in my opinion, probably a potential 10x out of it, if not higher, I don't know. Like, I don't like to be a full-out moon boy, but if we're going to get this alt season, MOG on Coinbase is going to be an absolute given, especially with its unit bias. Unit bias is the most slept on idea, slept on, I don't even know what you call it, thesis. The fact that MOG is legitimately so cheap, everyone that buys it is, they'll buy millions of tokens, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, versus something like WIF, where, it costs, what, $1, $2, $3 to buy it, and I think also Giga is pretty strong too. I think Giga is going to do very well because it's on Coinbase. Pepe, of course, is going to kill it. Cult is one that I really like, though. I've kind of built a lot of conviction with Cult. It's similar to Retardio, but obviously Cult is related to Milady, which is kind of the OG Retardio, basically. So I've kind of built conviction between both of those. And for me personally, I've been holding Retardio for a long time. Still one of my highest conviction meme coin bets. So for me to hold Retardio, which is a derivative of Milady, and to not hold the official Milady token, to me it's kind of like a literal no-brainer. So Cult is currently at like 100 million in market cap. Same thing. That's just going to be a long-term meme coin bet. You could literally just buy like 1, 2, 3 of the memes I just said and just call it a day. Call it a cycle. Just give it 3 to 6 months. That's how I'm looking at a lot of things right now. But what I was getting at earlier, yes, we got Bitcoin dominance starting to look very bearish. But I still think that we're, at some point, going to be on the cusp of a major rip from ETH BTC and then Sol BTC. Because if you guys were, looking at the market yesterday, these had huge pumps. ETH BTC was up 3%. Sol BTC was up around 4%, and we had so many coins just absolutely gigasend. There's a coin on Solana called MLG, which is it's a crypto gaming based meme coin. That was up almost 300% on a single candle. And that was something we called months ago. Yeah, it's been a long hold, but it was good to see. Something started to come back, but it's just seeing like within a single day how quick, everything can flip. It's like, in my opinion, I think it's important to be in the market, even if it's very high risk at the moment, because once that momentum really gets going, guys, like, I mean, from when the sentiment is kind of flat to then going full into alts or alt season, coins are going to pump like crazy because that's what everyone is waiting for to then start aping into stuff. So getting in early, aka when I don't know, I'm really feeling like it's alt season is coming soon. I know I've been saying that too for like 6 months, a year. Everyone thought at some point in 2024 it would happen, and now it's 2025, still hasn't happened. ETH still hasn't even shown significant, or ETH BTC hasn't shown any significant breakthroughs. Because I think what a lot of people are kind of waiting for is something like this, just boom, just huge giga rip, which obviously if you saw that, you'd probably miss out on most of the literal alt season. That is literally the point of being in the market right now. So, that's kind of what I wanted to bring up with this video. And like I said, well, one more thing is the narratives that I'm focusing on, because it seems like we saw even yesterday a lot of cult meme coins, which obviously if you guys have seen my channel, I'm a huge advocate for, even though most of them have absolutely nuked. Like, I mean, are down so bad. I'm still holding, but it seems like meme coins are still going to be present going forward, but it's definitely going to be a combination of meme coins and AI, and then also probably a couple narratives that we are just not focusing on, paying attention to at the moment. Literally like RWA. I think crypto gaming is going to be inevitable again. Even Bitcoin DeFi. I think there's probably going to be, whether it's ordinals. Well, I know ordinals, I think, are going to have their own narrative. If and when NFTs come back, ordinals are going to be insanely priced. I think very, very expensive. Like NFTs on Bitcoin are going to be incredibly expensive. But I think allocating into both meme coins and then a batch of utility plays, whether it's fully AI, including AI and AI agent plays, I'd basket that into one thing. Then crypto gaming a little bit of RWA, even if it's one coin in each narrative, and then you hold one or two meme coins. Because full disclosure, my top meme coins are literally Mog, Retardio, and Cult. At the current moment. And I think, obviously there's so many great ones too. Popcat, Giga, like I said, are really good. Mumu, of course. There's so many good ones, but, for me, I think going forward, I'm mainly going to focus on those three that I said and just be patient, outside of, obviously the smaller cap stuff that I've mentioned before. But as far as like main bags, I've been focusing on what are going to be my main bags for AI, my main bags for RWA, for gaming, for meme coins. I think that's very important, and everyone needs to be focusing on that and just choosing one coin basically that you want very good gains with a lot less risk than to be fully allocated into sub $1 million market cap coins. So outside of that, guys, I appreciate it. Definitely consider allocating into both. If you hate meme coins, I recommend you actually start buying some, because that's usually a sign that at some point that will come back and melt faces. If you hate AI for some reason, definitely start allocating into some AI. And in the next few videos, I'm going to give you guys a bunch of different coins that I'm paying attention to, coins that I'm holding myself, a bunch of different stuff. So outside of that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.